they teach a history based on lies to their own people in the West. They don't tell the truth, what the Middle East is doing and what they do in Middle East. Not only the Yazidi are the victim of Islam, or not only the Jewish are victim of the Islam, or the Christian, or Zoroastrian, or Baha'is, or Druze. Among themselves, the Muslim women are victim of their own fate. We don't have free press in Canada anymore. No free speech in Canada anymore. A two-state solution, probably that will never happen. And even if it happened, there will not be peace at all. They don't know anything about what has happened, what these people did to the indigenous people. From all the indigenous people, the Jewish are the one who steal with the state. The war has become a business for the Western leaders.
Israel is such a successful anti-colonial project.
The UN is not into justice.
No.
UN doesn't have any justice today. They take the side of the power. If my religion says, okay, go rape a 6-year-old child, it's okay. I don't like that religion. You don't have to have a religion to be a good person.
Amen. Today my guest is Sheikh Mirza Ismail. Sheikh Mirza is a Yazidi religious leader who was forced to flee Iraq because of religious persecution. Spending over 2 years as a refugee in Syria and Turkey, Sheikh Mirza made his way to Canada, where he received a degree in social service work in 2010. Sheikh Mirza is also the founder and president of the Yezidi Human Rights Organization International. He was born in Shingal, the Yezidi region of Iraq that was overrun by ISIS in August 2014. He has traveled all over the world, speaking with government officials, media, and organizations about the plight of the Yezidi people and other minorities suffering at the hands of ISIS. Since September 2014, Sheikh Mirza has been visiting Iraq frequently, meeting and interviewing the internationally displaced people, especially the Yezidi women and girls who lived under the law of ISIS and escaped the humanitarian crisis that saw the Yazidi genocide and enslavement. Sheikh Mirza, I am so grateful that you joined me here today. You have an incredibly difficult job of being the witness for your community and the voice of your community, spreading awareness of what the Yazidi people have been through and are still continuing to go through. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and honor you for the work that you do, and thank you so much for joining me here today.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for having me, and thank you for your honored guest. And thank you, Sarah, for organizing this meeting. That's greatly appreciated. Yeah, as you know, and as I am very sorry what you have been through. Such a difficult time from your almost childhood. It's not easy.
No, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, around the world that are victims of the same group.
Yeah, but we cannot give up. Giving up is the worst thing. Mm-hmm. We have to fight for justice. We have to fight for our freedom. It doesn't matter what the cost could be. Mm-hmm. If it's a life, and then we prepared for that too. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So talk to me about the Yazidi people. I think we don't hear enough. We don't learn enough. We don't know enough. You know, when the war with ISIS happened in Iraq and Syria, we were not getting enough information about the Yazidi people. We were taking in a lot of refugees from Syria in a lot of Western countries, but the Yazidi people were not amongst those refugees quite often. Instead, we were hearing about them facing incredible atrocities in Iraq and Syria. Can you tell us about your community? Who are they? What binds you? What connects you? Are you an ethnic group as well as a religious group? Could you give us a brief history just to understand your community in the context of living in the Arab and Muslim world?
Okay. Well, first of all, as Yazidi, we have faced 74 genocide by Muslims. Mm-hmm. Just because we have different faith, different culture, different language, different tradition, and so on. And after the Muslims with their what they call jihadi war, I call it, came and took over most of our region in Middle East, which used to be called Mesopotamia from the Sumerian period, 7,000 years ago up to now, in the last 100 years called Iraq. The Yazidis are one of the most indigenous people from the heartland of Mesopotamia, with a history spanning 7,000 years. The Yazidi is a distinct religion, ethnicity, and language. In our language, we call it Asdai, which means we believe in our Creator, the Supreme God. We Yazidi call Khoda. And until now, some people in Iran, in Afghanistan, also in like Zoroastrian, same thing. If you heard, they call Khoda. In our language, Khoda means the self-created power, which has meaning. It's not just like a name, like in Arabic you call it Allah, or in English you call it God. It's like a name, but in our language, the name has its own meaning. The self-created power that created everything and created anything. There's nothing can go beyond that power. We believe God is in control of everything. We don't believe that there is another power could stand against God. Good and bad both is within human being. God give you knowledge and you decide. In our faith, we call telling the truth is the path of God. The liar is the enemy of God. And for that reason, we say, whatever the cost could be, even if it's our life, we should tell the truth. Doesn't matter whether you like it or you don't like it, that's not our problem. Deism believe in one God without companion, and God is 7 archangel. That's why we have like 7 days in a week in our own mythology. We believe God created 7 archangels from his own light. Each day, one was created by God. And we also believe in 4 main natural elements: the sun, the earth, the water, and the air. These 4 natural elements is very, very important in the Yazidi faith. If one of those are missing, life would not exist. But life has existed before religion and after religion, before prophet and after prophets. As Yazidi, we did not need a messenger to teach us there is God. We already knew that there is God, self-created power. And for main natural elements, we know that it's not just there for nothing. We believe there's a power behind it, and that power we call the self-created power, which is God. However, these are like all pieces of evidence that the Yazidi is the most monotheistic faith from the beginning of the human creation. We believe that's our faith belief. We say God is above everything, and God created everything and anything, and there's no other force could stand against God. This is kind of very brief kind of introduction to the ESG faith. And also in our faith, we say if you help someone, do not ask what the person you are helping from what religion or culture. If you help someone in the name of God, don't ask, don't mention. If I help someone, I don't need any people to tell me, oh yeah, you helped that or that person could have faced some problem. You did something from your heart, then just keep it. You don't have to tell everybody that what you did. If God knows, that is better than the entire world. And that's what we are.
And do you also consider yourself an ethnic group as well as, so you spoke
Ye-
a lot about the religious beliefs, but do you also
Yeah,
believe
but
like in a cultural ethnic
yes,
identity?
as I said, like there is a distinct culture and ethnicity, a distinct language, and a distinct religion and
Right.
faith group. Yeah.
So growing up in an Arab country, Muslim majority, Shia and Sunni probably around 50-50 when you were growing up, maybe.
Mm.
What was that like for you and your community? Like, was there discrimination? Was there persecution? How did the Shias and the Sunnis treat you?
Well, since the Islam has taken over the Middle East, we face persecution, we face discrimination. That's something we cannot deny unless we lie to ourselves and we lie to the world. Because in Islam, whether they are Sunni or they are Shia, the same Sharia law, the same book. It's not two different books or two different Sharia law. In Islam, Sharia law is one Sharia law, and that Sharia law says like all non-Muslim are infidels and they should convert by sword.
Mhm.
That's the way that they have been doing this. So we don't like this is from my own perspective. Uh, if you see or analyze the action that the Muslims are doing, uh, Islam is believing that God created a big mistake by creating different people, and they want to correct God's work,
Correct. Yeah.
which we don't believe that, but in their action they believe God made a mistake. Otherwise, they would just live in peace like everybody else, interact with everybody else. There's no reason like you are human being, I am human being. So what's the difference? We all are human on this earth. And instead of fighting and killing each other, we can work together, live together, build a better future for a young generation, uh, an environment that's free of hate and discrimination.
Yeah. I really appreciate your honesty and directness in saying that. You're absolutely correct. As a child, I remember asking that about Islam's view of homosexuality is that gay people should be killed. And the only argument is how they should be killed. And
Well, that
I
this is like
remember as a
uh,
child, I asked specifically, like, but didn't Allah create gay people? Didn't Allah create Jews? Didn't Allah create kuffar? Didn't Allah create all these people that we're supposed to kill? So it feels like exactly like you said, like, are we correcting Allah's mistakes? Like it seems like a very strange thing for it to be the human's responsibility to correct the errors of the Almighty Creator.
yeah, this is that what we are facing because they are struggling to make that they are correct.
Mhm,
But when you analyze, so you question yourself, did God create a mistake? Did God made a mistake?
mhm.
Or if you believe in God and you say God is the only one power that created the universe, created everything and created anything, then do not intervene in God's work. If there is doomsday and if you believe in doomsday, then leave that up to God. God will decide. If God takes me to hell, that I am happy with it. God is the one who decides. You should not decide. What you should decide, do not harm others in this world. When they die peacefully, then God I'll judge them, not you. And I cannot judge anyone for God. That's
Yeah.
that's not right.
No, it's not right at all. And I want to speak to you about other groups because you were saying that there have been so many genocides of the Yazidi people living amongst Muslims. And you spoke about how the persecution was from the very beginning and constant. There are other groups like the Kurds and the Druze that are also living amongst Muslims, like the Yazidis, that are suffering in the same way, also ethnic and religious groups. Do you
Well,
find that there are similarities in your struggles, or
well,
do
there
you?
are like different, like for example, the Yezidi, the Assyrian, the Chaldean, the Mandian, the
Exactly, yeah.
Sabian, the Druze, the Baha'is, the Kakais. Uh, Most of those are who are non-Muslim, indigenous people to that, including the Jewish people. Like, uh, if you come back to the Kurds, there's a big difference between those indigenous people and between the Kurds. The Kurds came with the Ottoman and committed genocide against the non-Muslim.
Oh, okay.
For example, our we the Yazidi had two emirates in what which is called Turkey today. One called it the Khaltan Emirate, and the others called Haran Emirate. It's all southeastern Turkey. So the original of the Kurds are not the indigenous people to Turkey, not to Iraq, not to Syria, not to Lebanon. But the Kurds originally came from eastern Iran and Azerbaijan. During the Ottoman genocide campaign against the non-Muslim in the Ottoman jihadi wars against the non-Muslim, they came and, like, if you call today's Turkey, they were like Armenia, Greek, Yezidi, and Assyrian Jews, or everybody has like lived in that area.
Indigenous, yeah.
Yeah, and then when Turkey came and the Kurds came, they came, they brought verses from Quran. Like if you kill someone, non-Muslim, you have the right to own their like woman, become your slave, take their properties and take their lands. And today we lost our land in Turkey. Over 95% is occupied by the Kurds today. And in the West, they believe the Kurds are the one who are persecuted by the Turk and the Arab or the Iranian. But the Kurds have fought for all jihadi war with those three powers in the Middle East today. And they read the same book and they follow the same Sharia law. In Iraq, after Saddam was overthrown in 2003, the constitution of the KRG, or Kurdish Authority region, in their constitution, say Islam is the head of the state. And in Baghdad, they call Islam as the head of the state. So both are implementing the Sharia law. And before that Sharia law, I am called infidels, kafar. So they have every right to kill me, to treat me unfair. If I have property, they have a right to take it. And before the judge or before the law, we are different because in Sharia law, they say your Muslim brother, if he's guilty or he's innocent, you should take the right of the Muslim. So in that, there's no justice. If there's no justice, the of course, like the life of the people would not be easy. I'm going to give you one example that happened to a young Yazidi father and his daughter in northern Iraq. You know, more than 500,000 Yazidi were displaced from Sinjar to northern Iraq. In 2002, there was a Yazidi man. called Farouk and his 6-year daughter called Akhin. There was a Kurdish farmer. Sometimes we're giving them like some probably fruit stuff like that. Then one day he said, "Okay, come visit me to my farm. You and your young daughter, and don't bring anybody else." So they visited that farm. The farm was belonged to a representative of Barzani in Zako, and the person who take care of that farm was a Kurdish security force called Asaish, and his name was Barkat Diwali. He was about, I think, 49 or 50 years old at the time. So after visiting them and after a while, the man thought there's something very suspicious going on because of the way that he was talking to them. And the man went into the forest, like the trees, and contacted his sister in Germany. He said, "I and my daughter are in a farm in Zako, and I am very scared that something will happen to us. So just let you know that we are there in case something happen, so you can tell others where we were." Then the man said he really likes the 6-year-old daughter and he wants to rape it.
Oh my God.
And the man says, like, she's only 6 years old, and plus we are Yazidi, we can get married with Muslims. And he said, "Well, now you have to." He had a gun. He tied up the man and raped the daughter in front of the father. The daughter passed away. Was only 6 years old. And when he screamed, the man cut tongue of the father too. And after that, they killed both. She passed away of rape, and he killed the father with a bullet and buried them in that fire. So after they didn't come home, and the sister contacted the family members, it's like, "Okay, this is the area, this is the area." And when they called the police and when they took a search, they found out that they were buried in that farm, and then they found their bodies. And now the person is in jail. In jail, but for what? For what? If something like that happened, if it was for example, if it was Yezidi, and even if it was like a 20-year-old girl, the Yezidi man would be shot to death right there on spot. So this is one of the examples. And when the genocide took place in 2014, there were between 12,000 to 13,000 armed Peshmerga, or called KRG forces, were stationed in Sinjar. They say like the Iraqi government was defeated by ISIS and Sinjar become a part of Kurdistan now. So we will protect you. But the fact was the KRG was already collaborating with ISIS. When ISIS came and took over the region, according to the survival that I met, more than 5,000 of those armed Peshmerga joined up with ISIS and killed the Yazidi, raped them, and loot their properties. So for us, it's very different, but in the West, it's very, unfortunately, they teach a history based on lies to their own people in the West. They don't tell the truth, what the Middle East is doing and what they do in Middle East. They collaborate together for their political interest, and innocent people get killed and die of different types of death, including rape, torture, killing, massacres, you name it.
I mean, this was very important education for us because you're right, we do get a history based on lies in the West. And even those of us who are trying our best to pay attention, it is very confusing. It can get, the Druze people, for example, or the Baha'i, and even Yazidi will sometimes add Muslim at the end of their, they'll say Yazidi Muslim, Druze
Well,
Muslim, Baha'i. And I understand that the reason why they do that is to keep themselves alive. It's for survival. But what I want to say is that that can sometimes make things very difficult for so many of us who are trying our best to pay attention. What you told me now, what you explained to us about the difference between Kurdish people and the indigenous people to the land is incredibly important and something that I wasn't aware of, and I think will probably be new information for a lot of listeners. But I think that only speaks to how incredibly valuable your work is and how important it is for us to be hearing your voice and your perspective, because we're not getting the truth. Like you said, we're getting
yeah,
the voices that need to be heard based on the alignment
yeah,
and the goals of the leadership, right?
yeah, yes. When the situation of Akin and his father took place, I contacted some U.S. official, and I was in Iraq. I went to their embassy. I meet with this. Like, this is happening. It's just like, oh, so what do you want us to do for you?
Mm.
Then why do you claim that you take responsibility for justice for human rights? Don't claim it. If you don't claim it, I'm not gonna blame you. But if you claim justice and human rights is your responsibility for the world affairs, then we will tell you why you say this justice under international law. And when you created that law and you yourself, you step on that law for political interest, why?
All the
Don't do
time.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. Not only the Yazidi are the victim of Islam, or not only the Jewish are victim of the Islam, or the Christian, or Zoroastrian, or Baha'is, or Druze. Among themselves, the Muslim women are victim of their own fate, victim of their Sharia.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old is not ready, cannot get married. It's humanity. Forget about religion. As a human, how could those people, like the older people, do that?
I mean, in Iraq, I'm sure you're aware, very recently they changed the age of marriage from 18 down to 9. So
Well, because this
Iraq
is
is
in the,
moving
yeah,
backwards in time.
but this is in the Sharia law.
Yeah,
This is in
correct?
the Sharia law. It's not, they don't get from outsider.
No, that's right.
It's within the
So,
book.
so when
And
Kurdish call themselves Kurdish Muslims, they really are Muslims.
well, well, there are
Unlike,
no there are no other, the Kurdish are all Muslims. Yes, uh, many of them at one time were Yezidi, many of them at one time were Zoroastrian, many of them at one time were Jewish, many of them at one time were Assyrian, Chaldean, Armenian, Syriac, Baha'is, and so on. But when they commit genocide, for example, when ISIS came, until now we have over about an estimated 2,700 mostly women and children are in captivity. Where are they? Many times I myself, I visited US and I met with congressman, I met with Department of State, I met with UN, I met with Iraqi government, I met with the Shia clergy. I said, could you please help us? if you really believe that humanity exists, law exists, help us. Where are those people? Nobody tried to help us. No one. Not from US, neither not from West, neither from the East. And whoever you ask, they say, okay, yeah, what do you want us to do for you? Well, if you are a government, then those people are not oil and melted into the ground. They're somewhere. You can find it out. Where's your intelligence? If somebody entered the country illegally, then it doesn't take like weeks to find out. This has over 2,500 people. And until now, those people are being found and escaped from the Muslim family, from the Kurdish family, from the Arab family, from Syria, from Turkey, from Iraq.
Yeah. This is this is illuminating a lot for me because there was a very famous case here in the UK of a young girl named Banaz Mahmoud who was Kurdish, and her family wanted to force her into a marriage. And because she didn't want to marry the man that they wanted her to marry, basically her family hunted her down, chopped her body up, stuffed her in a suitcase, and then buried her in the family's backyard.
Well,
And
like
then
in
they
northern
escaped
Iraq,
back to Iraq.
in northern Iraq, hundreds of Kurdish women are being killed for that reason every single year.
Yeah.
But
And
they don't show it. They hide everything. They don't show it.
right. So it's no different than the way Muslim girls are treated in
It's same.
Pakistan and
No,
Afghanistan and yeah,
it's
everywhere
same.
else.
It's same thing. If
Same
as
thing.
long as you read, if I and you read one book in school, and whatever's in that book, we're gonna read it. We're gonna learn it about it, right? And then if tomorrow we do something, then we will follow that book. For example, a law book. So we would follow that. We would get article or whatever is in that book we will get, and then we'll treat people like that. So in whether they are Kurdish or they are Arabs or they are Turks or whatever you can name it, all different Muslim sects. It's one Quran, it's one Sharia law.
Yeah.
This is your religion. There's a book of your religious. You cannot deny.
Yeah.
And then if you read like Muhammad himself participated in jihadi war. Over the 27 jihadi war he participated in. So what can you tell people that it's a religion of peace and then your prophet has a sword and a sword convert people?
Yeah.
The truth is the truth. So if I tell that now, if I tell the truth, that oh well, you shouldn't say that because this is not right.
It's
But this is in
Islamophobic.
the book. This is in the book. So if it's in your book, why is not right?
Exactly. So this
Or
brings
if you
me
are
to
that as human being, if you are not agree with those one, and then eliminate those verses. Make just a book that teach people how to live together in peace, how to love people, and how to respect others. And then
if
people, when they are children, they grow up in that environment. They would not be in violation environment, in torture, in discrimination. But if you tell your child, a young child, oh, this is infidel, so hate him to death. They are bad people. They are infidels. They are kafar. Don't go. Don't eat there. Like, for example, now in most, there are probably about 300,000 Yazidi live in the Kurdish region, in Duhok and so on. This their indigenous land, including our holy place, Lalish. They cannot open a restaurant in Duhok or Erbil or wherever. If they open daily, like from the Muslim, I know there are Christian too, and there are other different people there, non-Muslim. But you don't see 2% of the Muslim go to that restaurant when they know that belong to a Yazidi person. I have a friend when they escaped in Sinjar, he was a baker. He had a bakery shop. He went there and he knew that if he say he's Yazidi, they're not gonna give him work. He went, he was looking for work, and there was a bakery shop. He said he's looking for a bakery shop and he has experience. They asked him, "Where are you from?" He said he's from Syria because many Kurdish from Syria fled to northern Iraq. So they gave him work. Oh yeah, you are good. You are good baker. And then he was unfortunate. One person from Sinjar, a Kurdish Muslim, saw him in that bakery. Said, "Hey man, what you doing here? You work here?" I said, like the owner said, "Oh, how you guys know each other? You are from Iraq." I said, "Yeah, he had a bakery shop in Sinjar." "Oh yeah, but he lied to me. He said he's from Turkey, he's from Syria." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Because I know you don't give me a work." I said, "Yeah, but now I found out, then take your stuff and get out because people are not gonna buy bread if you bake bread here."
Yeah.
This is in the Kurdish region where the US claimed that they're a democratic and coexisting people. It's far away from the truth.
Wow.
If if you are powerful and then your friend kills me, it's okay to hide it. But when you want to change it, then you can bring so many. Like for example, when they want to change Saddam Hussein, they say he's a dictator. He did chemical on Halabja. That was the war between Iraq and Iran. Saddam had nothing to do with that chemical in Halabja. It was Iran, and both with the signature of Barzani and Talabani took place that event in 1988. And then they say, okay, we have to remove Saddam. They remove Saddam, and the US chief commander, like of a military, but Paul Bremer, he was the one who wrote the new Iraqi constitution. He excluded the Yazidi.
Oh.
Says whether you want or no, you have to be Kurdish. Period. Your religion is Yazidi, but you are Kurdish in ethnicity. And during Saddam Hussein, the Arab ethnicity was imposed on Yazidi, imposed on Christian, imposed on Turkmen. They say, oh, well, and during Saddam, when we asked for our rights, they say, well, in the constitution of Iraq, you are considered like you are Arabs. I said, yeah, but you remove Saddam, you said his dictatorship. And then why from Arab now you change me to Kurdish ethnicity? They say, yeah, because the Kurds said that they are Kurdish. Yeah, yesterday they were Arab, today they are
Yeah.
Kurdish. So they are the one who label us, and the West is the one who support them. The administration of the West, not the people. I'm sure
Yes.
there are
There's a
over
big difference.
at least 90% of the public people in the West, they don't know anything about the government is crime that taking place in the Middle East, and they bring a history based on lie. It's for political interest. So this is it's very sad, but this is what it is, and this is happening right now.
Yeah, it's happening in Syria as well right now. They got rid of Assad. He's a dictator, and then replaced him with
What
a
a terrorist.
terrorist. Exactly.
Just before he became president, the Trump administration offered 10 million if somebody see where he's about. 10 days later, he went to Saudi Arabia and shake hand with that terrorist, Jolani. I met two Yazidi survivors. They were in Syria. They were like ISIS slave in Syria. Both served food to that terrorist, Jolani. He was the second high rank man after Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Jolani. Uh, he was in Iraq in jail with a fake on a fake ID, and then he went to Syria, and he was the second hand after Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. And then he created, he was a founder of Al-Nusra Front. Al-Nusra Front was same thing, a terrorist group, but combined between the Arab and the Kurds. And then he found what they call Sham Liberation. He found that and he joined that group. And then from from Al Qaeda to Al Nusra to ISIS and then to President of Syria. And when the ISIS attacked the Yazidi and other parts of Iraq, they took over. The Shia clergy issued a fatwa to create a popular mobilization force to fight against ISIS. Call it Hashd Shahabi. Hashd Shahabi. And in fact, that fatwa helped the Yazidi a lot. They helped us a lot. They killed ISIS. They defeated ISIS. And now US is trying, they put that entity as a terrorist organization. And the one who collaborated with terrorists, and they put terrorists in power in Syria. So it's a very confusing situation in Middle East that's taking place. It's unfortunate. The West claims something here to their people, and they do something very different in Middle East.
So,
And they try to balance that. For example, like if you say something, probably if you tell the truth, okay, write an article and about this hate and among the Muslim against the others. Canada will not publish it. We don't have free press. It's a political press now. We don't have free press in Canada anymore. No free speech in Canada anymore. There are Muslims from Canada who joined up with ISIS. I have survival here in London, Ontario, in Greater Toronto area, and in Manitoba. Three of them found face to face their captor, ISIS captor.
God. In Canada.
In Canada, the one in London, Ontario, faced her captor in on the bus, and she didn't know any English language. She went to the refugee place, that refugee center that helped actually those people, and unfortunately, more than 80% from the center were Muslims. She said, "I saw my ISIS captor on the bus here." And she just fainted. And they said, "Oh, no, you are traumatized. Don't talk about it. You are traumatized." Wow. She said, "This man was raping me for over 6 months. How can, like, I forget?" And they didn't do anything. The one in Winnipeg, she was able to write the license plate of the car. He was from Saudi Arabia, originally. And the police told them, "Oh, this is maybe it's a rental car." So if a terrorist rent a car,
figure it out.
but you can go to the rental place. They say, "Oh no,
Exactly.
this is privacy. You cannot do that." Isn't that a joke?
Absolutely. It's a tragic joke.
The one in Richmond Hill, she met her captor on a Walmart. So now hundreds of those terrorists are living in Canada, in a free world in Canada, after they commit crimes against humanity, including rape, torture, and killing.
And then they come as refugees. Who are you hiding from? Who are you running away from? You're the terrorists.
Yeah. Oh, no. Many of them, they were here already. They went, joined up to do their jihadi part, to get their 72 virgin in the next world. If they can get away, so why? It's our does our government know that? Trudeau himself says, okay, we have to create a rehabilitation program for those ISIS so that they can go back to their normal life. And instead of putting behind the bar for the rest of their life because of the crimes that they committed against humanity, if you free them, believe me, in the next 20, 30 years, the freedom in Canada, especially the women and girls, will be chaos.
If it
Would
takes that
face
long.
what the innocent people and girls of the indigenous people have faced in Middle East, in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Turkey, and so on. But the government doesn't think about the future of their own people. All they cares about their political power in the present day.
Very
To keep in
short-sighted.
power, yeah, they don't care about the future. How about the Middle East? The Middle East were like free of Muslims. The people were living in a harmony together. They were like all those indigenous people live together with no problem. No missionary, no would go and have a sword or a gun, point, okay, if you don't convert, you will die. We'll kill you. They didn't have anything like that. But after the Muslim came with their jihadi war and now they became the minority, which I hate the word minority. We are indigenous. We are the owner of the land. And just a few months ago, uh, I don't know if you know or you know or you don't know. I don't know. Like in most of the Middle Eastern country, the UN is probably like some stuff from the Western countries, but the over 80% are from the region, from the local. So when you go and file a complaint, who you gonna file a complaint to? To the one who killed you. He's a staff of the UN there. His brother is ISIS. This is the situation we are facing in Iraq today. If for example, if you come like okay, don't go far, just come to the Israel and Palestine. Uh, we call it Palestine. Palestine doesn't have to do anything with the Arab. That name came from the Roman when they came over there. But those, whether it's Gazan or the others, they come with jihadi war to occupy that land. And now they want to make a state there. A two-state solution that will never, probably that will never happen. And even if it happened, there will not be peace at all. But they try, they say, okay, Palestinian state. It never exists like what they call the Kurdistan. Kurdistan never existed in history. In the world history, you cannot find it anywhere in the world. But the West created fakely and trying to impose the idea on their own people. They don't know anything about what has happened, what these people did to the indigenous people. They don't tell the truth, but they tell a history based on lie and their people to support to continue their mission there. How many Muslim countries there?
57.
57. So why from 57 they cannot live in peace unless they take Jerusalem? The Jerusalem history goes back to like to King David, and at least the Jewish has a history of 5,000 years there, when there were no mention of the Arab or Muslim in the region.
Yeah.
So historically and the truth, you know that you are not belong to there. So if you have all those land, should they have their piece of land to live on?
And even on the tiny piece of land that they're living on, It's 20% Arab Muslims.
Yeah, and they cannot live in peace. How
No.
many times you have seen like a person will exploit himself, a suicide bomber in a bus, in a synagogue, in market? Hundreds of times happened. And then whatever, oh no, they are Jews, they are bad. Basically, that's the word they
If they
preach.
try to
But
protect themselves or defend themselves, they're bad.
and yeah, but from all the indigenous people, the Jews are the one who still with the state.
Yeah.
All the other, the Yezidi, the Assyrian, the Chaldean, the Mandian, all lost their land.
Yeah.
And Armenian as well, they have their own state. And the Yazidi and Armenian have faced together many genocide by the Kurds and Ottoman. But when the Armenia became a state, we have about probably 40 to 45 Yazidi there, 40 to 45,000, I mean, 100, yeah, thousand. Uh, they have every right, just like the Armenian people, because they know how it looked like to be under genocide. And they knew each other. So it's not like the Iraq or Syria or the West. When I say the West, it's mostly I'm talking about the US, UK, and France. Those the countries that has influence to make changes in the Middle East and to bring some history based on lie to their own people to make them believe. That's why they are there. They are doing a mission there for better life, for example. And this is very sad. On the other side, if you come to Christianity, Christianity is the most powerful in the UN. They own 4 permanent security council out of 5. US, UK, France, and Russia. They are 4 Christian country. What have they done to create a better world in a real world, in a reality? Anything? They have done nothing. Nothing. When a genocide happened against the Yazidi, any of those countries could have prevented. It's happening now against the Druze. Any of those countries could go and prevent it, but they don't want to. The war has become a business for the Western leader. They
Again,
hide from their people and they do their business there. It's become like a big business when the war or genocide take place. Uh, the KRG or Kurdish Regional Authority received billions of dollars under the name of the Yazidi genocide. They say we are providing them, we are sheltering them, and all the money goes there. And the Yazidi are still living as not less than the life of under the ISIS regime. The Yazidi life in IDP camp in northern Iraq. They live in tent that the tent is old for like has been there for 11 years. A piece of cloth that you live under for 11 years. They don't allow the Yazidi to go back to Mount Sinjar so that they can build their homes. They say, no, it's not safe. You cannot go there. Because the KRG collaborated with ISIS, and then they say, okay, they had some agreement with others, for example, the West and especially the US. So those people have to come to KRG so that they can go nowhere to tell the truth about the KRG's involvement with ISIS. So they have brainwashed them in IDP camp. They say, no, they are all Arabs. They're going to kill you if you go. Well, but you were protecting them. You had over 12,000 armed militia. You promised unless the ISIS run over the dead body of the Peshmerga, they will not reach the Yazidi. but you did not allow the Yazidi to run to the mountain until the ISIS arrived. You were the one who sent the security force to collect the Yazidi weapon prior to ISIS. By 40 days. You collected by force all weapons that the Yazidi own, such as mostly were like AK-47, and each home they have at least one machine gun for their protection after the regime falls. It's like we don't know what's going on, but we have to have something that in case something comes to we can protect ourselves. The Kurds, when they say no, we are in control, and Sinjar become a part of Kurdistan, you have to hand in your gun and we will protect you. They took all the gun, and with the agreement, uh, there was an agreement between ISIS, Turkey, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait. All those countries were agreeing if Barzani annihilate the Yazidi in total, then those countries will accept for an Islamic state of Kurdistan in northern Iraq. So everybody helped, and Barzani said he will implement the plan. And fortunately, they failed to annihilate the Yazidi. The Yazidi still survive. We have survived for the last 7,000 years, and we will survive. No matter what come, we will survive. And every genocide, the Yazidi become stronger and stronger. We have a saying, we say like during the Ottoman and Kurdish genocide, the men were tying their legs in case if I get scared or something so that I cannot escape. But the most important is our women and girls. They can flee to safe, but no problem, we can get killed. The man is the man and should be ready to sacrifice his life for their women and children.
So there's a couple of things here. First of all, I wanted to say that the parallels that you spoke about between all of the indigenous people of the Arab lands is really striking to me, and it really makes it so obvious, really brings home the point of how Israel is such a successful anti-colonial project. And
Well, if Israel rely on anybody else, they would face what we face. They should not rely
yeah,
on anyone.
they know that.
They should fight for their rights and for their freedom. They should learn a lesson from other indigenous people who lost everything.
Yeah, yeah.
The world or UN is not into justice.
No.
UN doesn't have any justice today. For the indigenous people, UN doesn't have any justice. In 2006, I was in Iraq, and a friend of mine faced torture by KRG militia. They said, you have to vote for KRG, and he said, I'm not going to vote for KRG candidates. So they beat him over 10 Arab militia beat him with the butt of their guns all over his body, getting bruised, broken. We went to UN I contacted the UN and said I want like a meeting with you. This is a case and it's very important. I took some of his pictures. We took picture for him and we made. I went. They brought one lady was from Kurdish regional government. I said, okay, I'm not gonna meet you. So, oh no, we are from UN. I said, you are from UN and your government did this. So I'm sure you're gonna say, well, just keep it quiet. We will try to figure out something. And then I tell there was another UN staff from US. Uh, I don't want to mention her name, but I said like when we ask for a meeting, please do not give meeting to us with the Iraqi people, especially with the Muslims. They are the one who are committing this, and then you're gonna send me
Yeah.
to meet one of those whom I meet, and then his brother killed my or raped my sister. They're not gonna do anything.
Hmm.
So why is the UN is doing this? It's just they feel happy with it. They take the side of the power people. In 2006, I was in Iraq, and again, I was detained by U.S. Soldiers, by U.S. military, for not identifying myself as Kurdish. I said, you came to Iraq, you said you're going to liberate Iraqi people and you're going to create a new democratic Iraq and freedom. Oh, no, that's not the way here. You have to. I said, no, I don't have to. You want to kill me? Go ahead and kill me. For over like 4 or 5 years, 4 or 5 hours, I was in their detention and just asking questions. And they brought a lady who was kind to interpret. I said, like, I speak your language. I don't need an interpreter. I speak your language. They say, no, you are illegally, and then you work with the Syrian government against the US. I said, like, you must be out of your mind.
Yeah.
I am here. I live in Canada and I come here often and I see my people and whatever they face, I try to tell the world what we are facing. We are facing injustice, discrimination, and that's the way they do. They get money for that. They get money from Barzani to do that. Believe me, they get money from Barzani to do that.
Because that was my question. That's what I was going to ask you. Because there seems to, I'm not sure if it's all ignorance. This is, in an interview I had with a scholar, she was talking about how with the Israeli-Palestinian issue, there seems to be a lot of ignorance, but it gets to a point where you start to think, is it really ignorance or is there something else at play here? And that's kind of what I'm feeling today. And that's a question I want to pose to you is all of these supposed mistakes that are going on, all of these
Well,
shockingly,
it's not mistake. For example, in 2014, in October, the U.S. fighter jet dropped tons of weapon and ammunition to ISIS
okay.
in Raqqa, in Syria.
So what's going on?
Tons were all packed of good like high tech weapon and I was in a meeting with some official. I said I wish that the U.S. fighter jet had made the same mistake in Mount Sinjar. At least one drop of gun and ammunition that those people can fight ISIS. And they point at my ISIS like, okay, do you say that we support terrorists? I said, okay, if you don't support terrorists, why you don't give us weapon? You drop weapon by mistake for ISIS, and you don't drop a loaf of bread and water for like 100 meters high until they hit the ground. Everything get broken and nobody can eat it or drink it. That's what happened in Mount Sinjar when after 7 days when they tried to drop some bread and cases of waters. Over 100 meters, just they were dropping those one and with no parachutes. I don't know how much time we left, but I think you have a question about the among the Yazidi as well, like whether they're split or they're kind of together or so on.
Sure, we could talk about that. We actually have we did talk about so many things beyond what I had anticipated we were going to talk about, but I did want to just bring this back to the Yazidi genocide because that's something we actually didn't talk a lot about. We have an author here in Canada, Nadia Murad, who tried to have a book talk where she was going to talk about her book where she survived as a sex slave. And her talk was shut down by the school board in Toronto because they said it was Islamophobic. So we don't really get to hear the voices of Yazidi survivors. We don't really know what's happening because, as you have said many times, those with power, those with money, they're the ones that have the microphone. They're the ones that get to decide what is truth. They get to decide what is history. Of course, it's based on lies and based on what they want the world to know. But this is why we're not hearing from the Yazidis. I know you hate the word minority, but because you're a smaller group and because you don't have the power and influence and control and, the ability of, to control people via terrorism, which I think is very, very successful here in the West, your voices aren't heard. So what I'd like for you to do for us is to talk to us a little bit about what you want the world to know about the Yazidi people today. So what have we not known? What do we not know about the Yazidi genocide? And what is important for us to know? I know that's a very big question, but as concisely as you possibly can, what message do you want to get to the world about the Yazidi people and specifically the survivors of the Yazidi genocide?
Well, first of all, we want especially the Western world, who have enjoyed their freedom, their equality, their rights as human being. I hope that they learn the truth about the indigenous people in Middle East, not what their governments say is correct. Uh, the Yazidi, as I said before, our history goes back for 7,000 years. The Yazidi are Yazidi and distinct from the Kurds and Arab and Turks. Those group came and took over our land in Islamic jihadi war against us. The Yazidi genocide, we have faced 74 genocides, not only one and two. We know what it looked like when you are under genocide, and when the Yazidi genocide happened, the only two groups came up and joined us was the Jewish people and the Hindu people, and both people have faced genocide like we do. So you know, if for example, now you are fighting for your freedom and you face so much, so you know how it look like when somebody is like you face them. You know how it look like to be under that situation. So what I want the West and whoever see or hear us, we hope that they can write to their government. The indigenous people should get their basic human rights, should enjoy the benefit of the UN's Declaration of Human Rights as people. Do not label us as we are not something, and then they label us something else. In Iraq or Syria or Turkey or Iran, in Iran we used to have millions of people. Now there's none, especially in the Kurds have taken over the region, but they were killed during those Islamic jihadis war, and some of them may have survived, but in hiding they cannot show their identity that they are Yazidi. In Turkey, probably 5% left. Many made their way to Europe, and many were killed or converted. In Iraq, now since the KRG took over power since 1991, over 60% of the Yazidi people in Nineveh Plain and other under the Kurdish controlled area have fled the region because of persecution and discrimination, and they cannot tell the truth. If now you go to northern Iraq and you tell someone you are Yazidi, they're going to tell you, oh, no, no, I am Kurdish. They cannot tell you that they are Yazidi. In Mount Sinjar, since the KRG took control, in 2007, there was a massacre of two Yazidi villages. Uh, 4 trucks trailer of explosive material. They went into the busy market and they explode themselves. And that one was one of the Kurdish Asaish personnel was behind, and he pleaded guilty. He was arrested by Iraqi government. He pleaded guilty, and the KRG with the US support were able to bring that man to court in The Hague. Again, he pleaded guilty, and he said he wanted to get rid of the Yazidi because we are infidels, and he fight for God, basically. And then the US right away blamed Al Qaeda. He was pleading guilty, and the US, no, Al Qaeda did it. But he's pleading guilty. He said he packed the 4 trailers by himself of all TNT and explosive material, and then the US were blaming Al Qaeda. But he's pleading, and then after that, the KRG government contacted the families of the victims. That time, about 1,500 were killed. 350 houses were destroyed. They give them a blank piece of paper. They say, okay, if you want your compensation, you have to sign it. You cannot read or write anything but a blank paper. And many years they refuse. They say, well, we lost our people. We lost, and this is not the first time. And it's okay for us. We don't want the compensation to sell the blood of our dead. And the Yazidi genocide was an international plan. It wasn't only by ISIS. Yes, the ISIS implemented, but the plan was also by West. The Obama administration was involved in at the time. He was involved. His background was Muslim, whether he wants to be a part of jihadi or not, but they did help. And many times during that, we went there, we asked for weapon, for airstrike. Kojo village was stayed like for about 15 days until August 15. They were besieged by ISIS, and we asked for support. We say, okay, just give us some weapon. We have Yazidi young man, and they are willing to sacrifice their lives for our people. They say, no, we cannot do it. Barzani contacted the clan leader in Kojo. They say, okay, do not make mistake, do not run away, do not try to escape. I am negotiating with ISIS. We're gonna send you helicopters, and you're gonna leave everything behind. And after on the 15th of August, they separated the man and woman. They killed all the man, and they took all the women and girls, including Nadia Murad. And today, the US and the West, Canada and Europe, they tell their people that, they tell their innocent people that the KRG was fighting ISIS. That's far away from the truth. The KRG was collaborating, and over 5,000 of KRG militia became ISIS.
Wow.
In the Yezidi genocide. This is what I can tell about the genocide. We had a rescue mission. Again, was a Jewish man, a Jewish businessman helped create an organization called CYCI, Christian Yazidi Children of Iraq. We had some people donated some money, and from his business he had some money. We were searching for our abducted girls and women. We were able to save many of them, to buy them. For example, like some Arabs agreed like they would go on to the slave market, says, okay, I want to marry these girls, and then they would make a paper like marriage paper, and then he would bring that girl to us, and we would pay him. And from the Shamar tribe of Arab, unfortunately, two men were killed because of that. They were helping us, and the KRG tried to contact us a few times. They say you have to give us that money, and we will give you a report that you are doing that. We refused. He said no. The money is for the poor people. It's not for you. And the money is not it's nothing to compare what you have. You have probably 300, $400,000, and we are trying to buy our people. Then the Kurdish prepared a letter, and they said, okay, if we ask for evidence that they are doing this, uh, we I we refuse to provide any of those names to KRG, because the KRG would go to those homes next day and treat them to death if they don't come on media and lie about what they said, because many of them saw the Peshmerga were raping them, the Peshmerga were the one who kidnapped them, and one of the girl we have in Canada, the family's business partner, he was the one who kidnapped the woman, and he told them that when they were visiting each other prior to ISIS, they say like, our eyes were for you, but we were looking for this to seek this opportunity to marry you now. They killed the man. They were like business partner. They killed the man, and they took the woman as their sex slave. So I told them like, you cannot provide those information to corrupted governments such as KRG. And then they wrote a very good letter, and they asked the Yezidi, some Yezidi organization, and including some US citizen who were working with Yezidi. They told them to sign that letter, and they sent it to Canadian government to stop the CYCI. And unfortunately, the government stopped that
Wow.
from rescuing our people. So in another word, like, they were helping ISIS.
Unbelievable.
But what can you say? This has happened, and this has happened when I was in this situation. So according to the escaped Yazidi girl, 7,450 Yazidi mostly women and children were kidnapped by ISIS, and one of the lady was a sex slave of an ISIS Amir who saw this number in the recording. The region, all the houses are destroyed. Until now, there's no why we haven't seen a single Muslim country that they went out and rallied. They say ISIS did something wrong and ISIS doesn't represent Islam. Now they say ISIS doesn't represent Islam. Then if ISIS not Muslim, who were they? How about the one before ISIS? How about the one before that? How about the one before that? It's all come from the Muslim people. So, and this one's all in your Sharia law.
The actions of ISIS are exactly the actions of their prophet.
It is. That's what I say. It's all they got this. Actually, ISIS were the one who were implementing the Sharia in Quran.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't getting from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's from Quran, why the Muslims are angry with that?
Mm-hmm.
This is what your religion is telling you, what it's saying. That's what it is. Of course, like we cannot say like I myself I have so many Muslim friends, but many Muslims are the victim of their own law, own Sharia law,
Mm-hmm.
especially young girls and women.
They know it's part of their religion, and some of them are too scared to fight against it if they disagree with it. Others are ashamed, so they don't want to talk about it. And then others will lie to protect it so that the rest of the world doesn't know that this is the true Islam. They try to obfuscate the truth. And so they'll
Yeah,
say
but
things like ISIS doesn't represent Islam when they know that that is the opposite of the truth.
when ISIS was committing genocide and in front of 50 plus Muslim countries, they were beheading Yazidi with
Yeah,
knives.
they never said a
And
word.
then the ISIS were those ones in media, in their YouTube videos. At the time, they were okay. They were okay. No, nobody came up and says ISIS doesn't represent Islam. But this all think ISIS all those verses are in Quran.
Yeah.
It's not outside of Quran. And yeah, the other thing about the Yazidi community also it's very important, I think, to mention. Yes, the Yazidi community has been divided into two. The one, the Yazidi from like the Karji region have accepted the Kurdification project, expanding the Kurdish ethnicity. They have accepted that, including the prince and the Yazidi religious council in that area, in Nineveh Plain and Ladish region. They have accepted, and they had no choice. They say we want to survive, and the sad thing, like next 10, 20 years, their children will grow up and they don't know who they were. Unless, oh yeah, our grand or great parents were Yezidi. The first step, they are Yazidi Kurd, and then the second step, they are Kurdish Muslim. It's already have taken over that region, and many times we asked the U.S. I was in a meeting with the U.S. Congressman called Frank Wolf, who was responsible for North Africa and Middle East. He had direct communication with Barzani, and I and some other my Assyrian colleague, we were there. Says like, could you please tell Barzani to leave us alone? There is an indigenous people with a history of 7,000 years. At the time, there was no mention of the Kurds, no mention of the Arabs, no mention of any of the religion. Now they are forcing us. Through Saddam, they forced us to be Arab in ethnicity, and now Barzani says they have to be Kurdish in ethnicity. 3 times, 4 times, I repeated to him. He said, no, I will tell him after. I will tell him after, and until now, he never told him. And I had some pictures where the Yazidi were beheaded by us, were chopping them. I said, can people see it? They said, oh, no, this is too graphic. We cannot see it. I put on Facebook, they closed the Facebook. You put on, no, we don't want to see. I met with Canadian MPs. They said, oh, no, we don't want to see it. So if you don't want to see those reality, that means that
You're hiding for them.
you
You're
are
covering.
not hiding. You are not supporting the action of terrorism. Of course you do. You don't want your people to see so that they can come to you and says, don't support this action. That's what they are doing. They are killing innocent people. They don't want to, like Canadian people, or US people, or European, to see the truth about what has happened. Like, for example, like human being is a human being, doesn't matter. Like, but why can't human beings just use the knowledge that God gave it to them? I don't care what the book says. If my religion says okay, go rape a 6-year-old child, it's okay. I don't like that religion. In my head, if as a human, whether I am crazy or the religion is crazy, I don't want it. If a
Yeah.
religion or older man agree to himself to go and rape a 6-year-old child, it's a crimes against humanity. So like, It's much younger than your daughters.
It's not a
It's a
crime. It's
child.
sanctioned. It's sanctioned by the religion and by Sharia.
And this should be, humans should use their knowledge to stop this action. I don't care if my book, I'm Yazidi, and fortunately we don't have anything of that one. It says like everybody should be free, and you do something. We are not a missionary religion, and yes, they are free to get out, but we don't have permission to accept anyone to become Yazidi. We say God created everything, and we don't have permission to do that. So it's like, okay, stay as God created you. You can be a good person. Doesn't have You don't have to have a religion to be a good person.
Amen.
Millions of people lived in the past with no religion, and they were just human beings and respecting each other. And for example, like all indigenous people, as I said, like the Yezidi, the Assyrian, like, by the way, the Assyrian, the Syriac, the Armenian, the Chaldean were not Christian. Were not Christian. Same people from the Sumerian period. The Yazidi and those people were the same one, same group of people and living in that and with no religion and nothing. People were happy to each other. And in Yazidi faith, as I said, like from the beginning, the Yazidi are monotheistic. We say we believe in our Creator, the self-created power, and we say you cannot intervene in anybody's life. It's their choice, it's their freedom. If you are good, if you can help, help. If you cannot help, leave them alone. They decide what to do. They decide their life. You cannot intervene in their lives. And respect them. As human beings, respect them. When we die, it's only one power going to judge us. So you don't have to worry about that time. In the real world, in the practical world, respect others and live together with mutual respect and leave other to God.
Absolutely. We have with us someone who is a friend of mine, and I think that her voice is really important. She's also from Iraq, and she doesn't have much time, so I'm going to ask her to unmute herself. Wayam, please unmute yourself and share with Sheikh Mirza today. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Yasmine. Thank you so much for this talk, Sheikh. I've collaborated with Saad Murad, who lives in Michigan, who's Yazidi. He's given a talk at our conferences, and I've interviewed him. And I'm a Chaldean. I was born in Baghdad. Everything you said, it's right, spot on. The UN, I don't understand. There was the director of the UN last year gave a speech at a talk at a London university, and he mostly talked about the genocide for Shia Muslims. He sprinkled a little bit of information about Yazidis. He mentioned nothing about the Christians, didn't even bring up the word Christianity. And at the end, after 1 hour, I shared the link, by the way, in the chat. I said, why was the Christians, excluded from this talk? And he said, oh, his excuse was very lame and saying something that their loss wasn't as important as with the Yazidis and the Shia Muslims. Interestingly, the Shia Muslims are dominating Iraq and Iran right now. So, not to minimize what they went through, but I wrote a book called Witnessing a Genocide. And as a small, author at the time in 2015, I included every single group, including the Sunni and the Shia. So how could the director of genocide, UN genocide department, exclude a whole entire group that has been experiencing oppression, persecution, genocide consistently for over, for 2,000 years? And you're right, we were not Christians, we're ethnic group, such as yourself, from religion was even formed. There was just different groups living together. And we
What happened in Nineveh plain? What happened in Nineveh plain? He didn't know.
Oh,
What happened to Christian in Nineveh Plain?
well, I was not, all I did is I asked that one question online, and after that, I was fuming to the fact that that was the response. And I couldn't ask anything else because they just put that out, and I realized like the audacity of somebody excluding an entire group when he is speaking in a really technically a
A higher
Christian country,
position.
and a higher position and a Christian country. So I started realize I emailed the UN. I've taken action to try to bring awareness, and I really appreciate your talk and what's going on in the back of my mind. And Yasmine, she's worked tirelessly. I mean, I give her so much credit for her courage because, myself, I've noticed that there's a lot of traits I have that has to do with fears involving growing up even though I left as a child, but myself and my community, sometimes I see that these fears still linger. And the fears is because it's like threads and ancestral wounds and ancestral fears. But Yasmine, somehow, I don't know, she's this just trailblazer and she just can knock everybody down who talks about this with her information. So I give her a lot of credit, but we need more people to unite together. And this is something I discussed with Saad Murad. So I just emailed him about your talk. If we could collaborate to bring more awareness to this, because also my talks were canceled. I have a film that actually stars Muslim women. The Muslim women
Yeah.
were in this film. It's a beautiful message just about like freedom, not even about like religion or anything like that. And that was canceled, and that was like they got a pushback. So I thought, okay, so who gets a voice here? Who is
Well,
getting the voice?
several times I was cancelled and I couldn't speak because same thing they told me, okay, we before you speak, we have to know what you're gonna say.
Wow.
And then they canceled me. I said, no, if you
Same
don't
with
want
me,
to
of
hear the
course.
truth, then what's gonna happen? So this is it's not something surprise as like here in the West when when the politicians are involved. So it's very difficult. And many times in US we work together. If you know William Marda, Pascal's husband, they are Chaldean too from Baghdad. And many times we said the only solution for the indigenous people in Iraq, the Yazidi, Kurds, Syrian, and Mandian, is a separate administration region that's directly connected with Baghdad and under international protection. And we are working on for a long time, and the West has not trying to help us yet. But we hope that we can collaborate together. We all and same thing. I thank Yasmin so much for her hard work and for saying a fearless person. And I think what human beings should be, if we ask for our freedom, if we want our freedom, we have to sacrifice for the younger generation to come so that at least they don't face what we faced. And another example that happened with a Yazidi mother, slave, her young child, 6 month or the 6 month old child was taken from her and with several other women. The ISIS didn't give them food for several days, and they told them until they eat, they're not going to give them their children. So they brought the food. After they ate, they say, okay, now we ate the food, so can you give us our children? They laughed and they say, okay, yeah, we brought your children and you ate them. We cook it for them. We cook them for you. So they fed the mother with the flesh of their own children. That's what ISIS did. And the woman was not able kind to survive. She committed suicide. So these things happen beyond one can imagine, beyond a human can imagine. It's not easy, Yasmin. It's not easy. And if you have any other question for me, and I'm more than happy to answer.
Chantal, did you want to go next?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hopefully there's
Yes,
not too much background noise. I'm downtown Manhattan.
yes.
But I'd originally was going to ask you a question about the United Nations, but I think I got my answer to that. But I was just wondering, like, do you have any thoughts on what we can do just as individuals or even as small groups and organizations to just help get more attention to these issues and break through all this media propaganda that we're just flooded with? And it's just typically one-sided reporting for the most part, and it just, what we hear seems designed to provoke division and enhance tensions between all of us rather than, doing anything productive. And I was just wondering, do you have any thoughts or ideas, like what can we do? Because sometimes I feel like I just shout into the void and I like repost stuff, and I don't know what else to do to kind of like reach the broader public. Thank you.
Go ahead, Sheikh Mirza.
Well, like for the people here, I think like each of us has many friends, and I think we all need like to write like campaign letters to our government and ask them to change their foreign policy. Equality and freedom should apply to all human beings, and to obey what they declared, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They should, while they come up with that one, they wrote that one, then they should be able to obey that law. If it's only ink on paper, then don't talk about international law. And I think if a larger like number of people try to write letter, they may have somehow they may have effect on the government to change. Like until now, even in Canada, several times I asked the Canadian government and asked MPs, it's like, we are Yezidi and you know what happened to us. Why Canada is not willing to recognize us as Yezidi? And then they turn their back away. Why? Because if they do, then their friend who's committing crimes will not be happy. I myself, I received a threat from KRG, and also I received a threat from the Islamist in Canada through a Pakistani priest. He came to me, he showed me the letter that my name was on the list to be killed by Islamists here. And I said, okay, can I have it? He didn't give it to me. He said, no, but this is you, and you have to be careful. I said, well, for telling the truth, I will tell the truth no matter what happened. And I am ready. If my death comes, so I'm ready for it, but I will not keep silent, and I will tell the truth. I'm willing to sacrifice my lives for innocent people. Anyway, I will die. If I don't get killed, I will die. So either of them will come, and no human will survive forever. So it's we as human beings are facing so much in the 21st century, where there's UN, there's international, what they claim there's international law. But why is this international law is not being applied to all people equally? Why is the Declaration of Human Rights benefit is not applying to all equally. Some people die from starvation in Africa. The other are don't know what to do, and then they are same. Millions of people are fleeing the Muslim country to West. Why Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and those rich countries are not taking in? If persecution, they say, look, those people face genocide, there should be a moral obligation to do something, not just recognized by a word of a mouth. Okay, yeah, you face genocide, and then that's it. So do something so that genocide doesn't repeat again and again. But unfortunately, the history is just repeating again and again. During the Ottoman in Turkey, when they commit genocide against the Armenian, we Yazidi lost over 500,000 people. The Christian, the Chaldean, Assyrian, they lost over 700,000 people. The Greek, same thing. So what happened? Like, and Turkey now is a member of the NATO. They got away with all crimes that they did it. They said Assad the regime is a dictatorship. They brought a terrorist to regime. In Afghanistan, they brought Taliban again. Why they support some for political interest to destroy the humanity of the people? What they live one life, they live one time, and there's no reason. Let that life be prospered, be respected, and we die peacefully. You don't have to kill each other. God doesn't need our help to kill each other for him. If just we wait maybe 80 years, 70 years, 100 years maximum maybe, and then we die peacefully. You don't have to kill and make torture and hate each other because they are in different religion. Missionary is a big problem today. Missionary is a very big problem. You come and then you point a gun at me and say, okay, you have to give shahada or I'm going to kill you. What kind of religion would be this? What kind of human knowledge that will accept to do like that? It's very difficult when larger power support criminals to do whatever they want, and then after maybe 10 years, they oh no, they commit crime, so we have to change that regime. So do it before that happen. If Sharia law implemented, it's going to be difficult for humanity. Not only for like the non-Muslim, but also for the Muslim people are going to be as like women in Islam. They don't have right. They're much accepted much in a like lower level of a human being. And in many other, like in our faith, we say there's no difference between man and woman. God created both, like, and they should be respected the same thing. If I am a person, then she's a person too. If I am a human being, then she's a human being too. So why I'm better than her or she's better than me? We say no, we are human beings. So just human is the human. Doesn't matter if you are Muslim or Yazidi or Christian or Jewish or Hindu or Taoist or Druze, etc. They are all same thing.
Sheikh Mirza, there's so much more to say. Sorry, you really devastated a lot of us with a lot of the things that you've been sharing with us. I can't even imagine you having to carry all of this with you and to continually tell the stories of your people. It must be absolutely debilitating. Sarah has a few questions from people who ask questions in the comments. She's
Okay.
going to have to just choose a couple of them just because of the time, but you've shared so much with us and we have so much more to learn from you. We do have a community on this podcast where we continue the conversation because there's, we can't fit everything in this hour and a half.
Right.
And in the end of our conversation, of course, I'd love for you to share with us where people can contact you directly if they want to learn more. But for
Sure.
now, I'll get Sarah to ask some questions from our audience. Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Sheikh Mirza. I really appreciate all the stories that you've shared. Something that people have asked in the comments that I also would like to know about is what is the situation with the Yazidi people now? Were they able to return to their villages? Are they permanently displaced at this point? Do they have a safe space in Iraq to go back to, or any other country in the Middle East, really, to live in their communities? And there are more than 2,500 missing women and children, as you mentioned. Where are they now? Do you know where every single one of them are? How can we help return them? Is there anything we can do, something tangible that we can do to help?
And just to add
Thank
to
you.
that question,
Yes.
thanks, Sarah. You were mentioning that the Yazidi people have been living in tents for, how long
For the
it's
last
been now,
11 years.
11 years. 11
Yes.
years just living under a piece of cloth.
Yes.
Their homes, Wiam was saying in the chat that the Chaldean people's homes, their land has now been taken over by ISIS. They're living there now. Is the same with the Yazidi people? Have your homes been taken over by the Sunni Muslims in Iraq?
Well, in Sinjar, for example, when the ISIS came, they took over everything. In less than 1 day, more than 500,000 were displaced, and of course, the Sunni Muslim came in, both from the Kurdish and Arab and Turkmen. And then after ISIS was defeated by Popular Mobilization Force, probably about 250 to 300,000 have returned back. They built their own home with the mud bricks and so on. They could not stay under the KRG regime because the KRG regime is assimilating the Yezidi since 1991. They say you have to accept codification, period. And we have many times we have meeting with especially US and UN, and we discuss this, but unfortunately until now, they are not willing to help us. The Yazidi intent, the KRG now is not allowing them to go back. Many of them want to go back. They say, okay, we don't want anything. We don't want compensation. And by the way, until now, they haven't got their compensation yet. Their houses, many of them were exploded. Many were destroyed by US airstrike and by ISIS explosion. Many people went back. They built only like one room. So it's much better than a tent, at least. And they went back. So about from 250,000 to 300,000 already have returned back on their own. They say, we will go back. The KRG did not allow them to take any of their belonging. Like when they kick out the Jews from Iraq, only their clothes on their back.
Yeah.
And we still have about 250,000 in IDP camp in northern Iraq, which is controlled by Barzani. I talk on a regular basis with many of them. I have friends among them. They say we cannot go back. We can't go back unless we go by on like a personal situation. We go to Mosul. I go take a bus to Mosul and then from Mosul to Sinjar, but I cannot take anything back. So the UN know that, the US know that, the UK know that, the French know that, but they deny to their people. They say they are happy, and then when it comes to media, then the Kurds would go in a hiding, go to 100, 200 families. If you don't come and march, you will die later. So come and hold sign. Okay, we don't want to go back to Shingal because it's not safe.
Wow.
So that's the real situation, what's happening there. And like many times we have mentioned, the UN and the international community is not doing their responsibility.
Well, more than that, they're actually facilitating it for the terrorists. That the UN
They
is the
they
opposite.
are, especially UN, like especially UN is very very hard to deal with, and they get a good amount of money from those Muslim countries who support terrorism, such as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and other
Yep.
Kuwait and Emirat and so on. So the important for the UN is the good salary and the good benefit for their staff and their workers. That's what they worry about. They don't worry about people being discriminated against, people being faced genocide, people being killed, people being tortured. They put all this aside as long as their salary and benefit are great, they're happy with.
You have spoken so much truth in this talk with us today. I am just in awe of your bravery. I know that doing this kind of work, I'm sure you've heard the word fearless many times, but I know that of course you have fear, and the fact that you still speak up despite the fear, I think is so courageous and so brave. And
in the I think it was 2015, I used to live in a different place. Like I moved, but I don't give my address to many. And I wasn't home one day. Came, my door was broken, and all my stuff were kind of broken and taken. And I went to file a complaint. They said, "Oh, yeah, just move to somewhere else."
yeah,
Yeah, this is.
that's what Canada's like. Absolutely useless. I
So
have similar stories.
It's very hard. And say, okay, yeah. Well, if you know that, don't talk. Well, don't talk is easy for you.
Wow.
Don't talk is easy for you, not for me.
It's despicable. Absolutely despicable.
Well, this is the reality.
Yeah.
This is the reality, my dear. So what can we do? But as I said several times, there's nothing worse than giving up. Giving up is the worst thing in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and many times we have discussed the only solution for the indigenous people is a separate autonomous region, like for us in our own indigenous land, like the remaining left in Sinjar and Nineveh Plain, where the Yazidi and Kildare and Christian and Mandian could live and survive through. And on the other hand, the Druze people is unfortunate to see the world is silence. But what can we do when the government is supporting the terrorists and tying up the victims?
That's right.
Yeah.
And look how they're treating the one Indigenous community that was able to claim back their land and are trying to survive in peace. And look what they're doing to them and how they're treating them and how they've demonized them. So it's like they're, even if you are able to get your own piece of land, like the Druze or the Jewish people, it's like it's a never-ending story. This is going to be a constant battle. Not just from the Muslims, not just from ISIS and Al-Qaeda and the extremists and the radicals, but from the West, like you mentioned, from America, from France, from Canada.
Well, like, for example, in Iraq, when they wrote the constitution, like what they would call like a strip from like Syrian border from Sinjar, which we are bordered with Syria, to Kirkuk, which goes back like to Iran border. This strip is all like Yazidi and Kurd Syrian Christian, Mandian. They are the most indigenous people, and they have lived together for thousands of years in harmony among each other. When they wrote the Iraqi constitution, they put that strip as a dispute area. Why is dispute area? We said, well, like we are still alive, so why you wanna split the area between the Arab and the Kurds? We are the owner of this piece of land. Still, we are alive. We live. They killed us from the south and they killed us from the north. So this area is left. We still live on. And they say, well, that's what we came up with. It should be a disputed area. So now the Arab from the government is claiming that should be their land, and then the Kurds claiming should be their land, and the indigenous people are being forced to flee. And this land is very rich in oil, so it's not easy for us. And it's already Karji is stealing that oil from there's only about 1.5 kilometers from our holy temple Lalish and to oil well in Bashika, which is about only 15 kilometers north of Mosul. And Lalish is our holy place, but the oil is all going to Barzani. And our people are starving, and if they have 2 meals a day, they are very happy in those tents. During summer is very hot, and during winter is very cold.
This is not sustainable, of course. There has to be...
And the UN is just being spectator and just watching, and the other international community, same thing, like the US, France, and France has promised Nadia Murad to build a hospital in Sinjar. We don't know how long it's going to take, but it has been a long time, a project, but it hasn't been completed yet. And whether it's going to be completed or no, or how many people have to die, or another genocide take place before that happens. Now we know there's another genocide is being prepared for us. Because we don't know. They are like the terrorists are entering. Like there's Amnesty International, like Amnesty law in Iraq to release all the ISIS members from the prison.
Great.
And this is US is doing. US and the government is doing. There are thousands of ISIS members, including their leaders, are given the safe haven by Barzani. And we don't know what's going to happen, but we know the ISIS are being released from prison, and they are preparing for a larger war against the non-Muslim there.
They're already actively involved in genocide of the Druze people now in Syria, and the world is silent. So they know that they can do these things. In fact, not only will the world be silent, but like what happened in Israel, the world will actually support them. So they're
well, like what
this is
happened,
only
like
helping them to feel more and more, boost their morale.
and
you know?
And also, I don't know if you hear that one of the Yezidi girl was found in Gaza.
Yes, yeah.
And
It's
then
all related.
how come from Iraq end up in Gaza?
Yeah.
So they are connected. They are terrorists,
course.
but today the world is supporting Hamas against Jews,
Yeah.
which is you don't know.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It is a terrorist being supported against the indigenous people who have been there for thousands of years before their nation.
Yeah.
And about the other question about the 2,500 plus Yazidi women and girls are still in captivity. They are the majority of them in Syria, and also they are in Iraq and Turkey and according to some information, over 300 to 400 have been to Saudi Arabia and Qatar and other Muslim countries. The young, beautiful girls were for their kind of royal families.
Sheikh Mirza, I really want to thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing so much about yourself today, about your community, about your tragedies, your traumas, your hopes. We honor all of the stories that you've shared with us, and each and every person who's listening to this, I know, is going to be touched deeply and has learned so much, and will do their best to continue to share the messages that you shared with us today, whether it's with our MPs, if you're unfortunately one of the people who is in Canada, or whoever it is, speaking up against the UN and how they are, facilitating these atrocities in your own way, however it is, find a way, speak up and support of the Yazidi people. Please connect with Sheikh Mirza, learn more from him, do what you can. There are so many indigenous communities in the Arab world that are being treated like this, but what is happening, the genocide of the Yazidi people, the fact that we watched it happen in real time, and the world has just really betrayed you. The world has really turned its back on you, and I hope that we can do as much as we can to correct that wrong. Sheikh Mirza, how can people connect with you? How can they learn more from you?
There's Sarah has my contact information.
Okay, we'll
Both
share
my
that
email
in
and phone, and please share it. Anybody wants to contact, anybody wants have a question, I'll be more than willing, and I hope that we all can collaborate for the sake of humanity to work together. If today you are here, tomorrow is going to be my turn. We have to be united. We have to fight as human beings. We have to fight for our freedom. Doesn't matter what religion we are belong to, what ethnic group we are belong to, but we all are belong to a human family, and we should support each other, and we should work against those evil forces who are torturing, who are abusing innocent people.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
And
I
thank
think
you for having me.
Thank
That's
you
greatly
so much, Sheikh
appreciated.
Mirza.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us here today. Again, Sheikh Mirza, thank you so much. Take care. We'll talk
Thank you all.
soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
After hearing all that, you might be left wondering, what can I do? How can I help? Well, this is why I created a nonprofit called Free Hearts, Free Minds. We are the only organization dedicated exclusively to helping these free thinkers. We empower them with our programs and supportive community, lifting them up so they can heal, speak out, and begin to make positive changes, not just in their own lives, but within the broader community around them. If this is a cause that resonates with you and you want to make a difference, one way to do that is by donating to Free Hearts, Free Minds. Because not enough people care about this cause, we need people like you to help fuel this change. You can donate via our website, freeheartsfreeminds.com. Thank you. Every dollar you donate makes a difference.